What's going on, guys? Alex over at 814 and today I'm ready to do my full review on the Zero Tolerance Knives 0044. Now this is ZT's first iteration of a button lock, and I think that this thing is a fantastic addition to any of your guys' collection. I've been very impressed with it. I think for, again, their first stab at a button lock, I think this one is really well done. Titanium scales. Beautiful drop point style blade, just very smooth, very buttery, has a pretty snappy detent. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to jump over to the tabletop review or tabletop camera, and we are going to continue on with this review. So see you guys in a minute. Okay guys, so we are switched over here to the tabletop to get a closer look at the beautiful model that is the ZT0044. Like I said in the intro, this is ZT's first stab, first iteration, first try at a manual button lock. And honestly, I think they did a really good job. It's a beautiful looking knife. It functions very well. And I am a very big fan of this. I was lucky enough to be the first one from Kevin to check this out. So I was pretty excited because I had seen videos on it. I had seen, of course, it getting hyped up around its release date and things like that, and I thought it looked very cool. So I was very intrigued by it, and it has definitely lived up to the hype. It has honestly exceeded the hype a little bit, and I think for the first, again, I keep repeating myself, but stab, iteration, try, whatever you want to call it, at a button lock, ZT did a knockout job. It really is a kind of a step in the more EDC-able direction, as compared to their overbuilt big rugged folders. This is sleek and slim and lightweight and very gentleman-like, if you will. It's very pocket friendly, and it's just a really good all-around EDC knife. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into the review, give you guys some specs, materials. You guys know how I start off my reviews with, so we'll get right into it. And I am going to leave a link to ZT's website down below. However, I cannot find this in stock anywhere online. It's not in stock on ZT's website. It's not in stock on any of the big retailers because they sold out so fast. So I will definitely leave a link down below to ZT's website. But be on the lookout and keep your eyes open for any opening, any restocks of the 0044. So as far as materials are going to go, we are dealing with a beautiful, kind of a double finish on the blade here with satin on the flats and, excuse me, yeah, satin on the flats. No, I always get that. Yeah, okay, stonewashed on the flats and a satin grind down here. ZT there on the logo. You guys can see just a beautiful, very simple drop point. Very classy, nice swedge built up top here. It's nice and reflective. It's an S45 VN steel, which is very nice. Made in the USA, of course, and it is in serialized number 0116, so 116. You get a loop over style deep carry ZT clip that is reversible, which is very nice. If you guys caught my review on the ZT0512, the automatic, I kind of bitched and complained a little bit about the logo being on the pot clip. That's one thing I wish Kershaw and ZT would quit doing. I don't mind the minimal branding, but I love when pot clips are nice and clean and sterile. It would have been nice to have maybe a little bit of recess down into the scales. However, you do get flat top screws, which is a nice added bonus. You get a custom pivot on here, which is very cool. It's not like your standard round pivot. It's more of kind of an oval, a rectangular oval, if you will. Very cool. The button has a teal ring around it, which matches the teal in the backspacer back here. There is plenty of internal milling. I don't know if my phone will pick up on this or not, but on both sides. And then on the back here, you have zero tolerance on the inside of the scale. You guys can just catch that right there. I apologize. This is only my second video with the tabletop, filming method. So I apologize if there is a few weird shots and things like that. I'm still working out the kinks, but every time I make a video this way, I'll just be getting better at it. So, yeah, materials are fantastic. Easy 5 out of 5. As I keep dropping the knife. S45 VN. beautiful bead blast titanium scales, flipper tab, beautiful grinds, you know, nice and simple, but still very elegant and high class at the same time. So some quick specs on here before we move on. The blade length is coming in at a overall 3.2 inches. You have a blade thickness of 0.121. You have a closed length or handle length of 4.35, and it comes in weighing 3.4 ounces with an overall length from tip to butt of 7.55. So very, you know, right in my wheelhouse. You guys know I love, you know, 3¼ inch blade lengths on knives, and yeah, just right in my wheelhouse. Very, you know, medium-sized knife, I would say, but very, very good for me. And 3.4 ounces on the weight with titanium just goes to show how much milling is done on the inside of the scales to make it very, very pocket-friendly. But I think we're going to move on to aesthetic. I'm already going to jot that down. Easy 5. This had caught my attention as soon as I saw it on Instagram. I thought that it looked fantastic. Again, just very sleek and minimalistic. I love the blade shape. It's very, you know, it honestly gives me kind of Hinderer vibes with some of their Rick's designs with ZT. Just very, very simple, very clean. I love the handle. Again, I love the pivot. I could go without the teal, but it is just a nice little pop of color on the blade that is otherwise pretty plain Jane with the tie and the blackened hardware. But I like the black clip, black pivot, of course, and you do get that teal backspacer that matches the button. So I think it looks fantastic. Again, it's nothing too crazy, but it's just really clean, really simple. And you guys know that is where I tend to love my designs. So 5 out of 5 on the aesthetic. Next up is action. The only way of deploying this knife is via the flipper tab, which has some milling right there. It's, I'd say, a medium-sized flipper tab. It's definitely not super intrusive, but it's definitely not like, you know, just kind of hidden back there. You can do the push button method, or you can do the light switch method, whichever way your heart desires to open this knife. You guys know I tend to prefer the push button. Just land right on top of the flipper tab, build pressure, and it pops right out. But of course, like I already said, the light switch does just fine. And for this being a button lock, a lot of button locks have had, you know, some, I guess just button locks in general, are notorious for kind of feeling mushy, not having the best detent. But honestly, this thing has, I'm trying to fail it right now. It's hard to, man. This detent is very, very good. That was one of the first things that I noticed. You guys can see dead centered. Oh, there we go. Still getting the hang of this, guys. Dead centered. And you just get a really nice amount of pressure right here. You guys can see the blades moving a little bit because I'm trying to build pressure. And then it pops right out. Very consistent. Very, very fun to fidget with. And of course, that button sticks out like that. Doesn't sit too far out of the scales. You just find it, drop it. And you guys all know and all understand the fidget factor behind button locks, and you know how fun they are to sit here and do this. And this is a great rendition of it. Closing action is phenomenal. No blade play whatsoever, so this thing is locked up very, very tight. Again, I am very, very impressed with this knife, and the action is a very big role of it. So we're going to go 5 out of 5 on the action. Next up is the acoustics. For acoustics, I'm going to go 4 out of 5. I don't think that it is perfect by any means. With all of that internal milling going on, I would have hoped for a little bit more high pitchness, and you do get just a smidgen of it. It's nothing overpowering. It's not going to, you know, really pierce your eardrums too much. But there's just that little bit that comes in that makes you wanting more, and it makes you think, wow, this thing could be, you know, it's so close to being a perfect sounding knife. And it's very good, don't get me wrong. I think it's, you know, I take that back. I'm going to go 4.5. I think that it is, I had to sit down and think about it for a second. It's not perfect, but it's pretty dang close. It's very, very just pleasant sounding. I think it's probably the best sounding button lock I've handled. And again, that's from the titanium and just these big milling pockets allowing for sound to reverberate through them. Just a little bit more of that high pitch and tinginess I think would go a long way with the acoustics on the 0044. So we're gonna go 4.5. I don't want to sit here and draw and speculate on it too much. 4.5 on the acoustics. Next up is ergos. I can get an easy 4-finger grip on this knife. I just have enough sticking out the back here. My hands are not too scrunched up on it. They're very, very comfortable. It's a very neutral handle shape, which harks back to the aesthetics of the knife. Very simple, very clean. I mean, you pretty much have a straight line the whole way back. I mean, it obviously tapers a little bit, but straight line until you get to this finger groove right here. You could utilize the flipper choil for landing area for your ergos. My hands are a little bit too big because I'm kind of poking onto the blade there. So unless you have like real small spider fingers, I don't think that's the best case scenario for you. But best case scenario for me with my favorite grip is the saber grip right here. You get a little bit of jimping up here for this specific reason, or you can land the whole way up here past that jimping with your thumb for doing push cuts. Gives you a little bit extra control, a little bit extra oomph into whatever you're doing. The titanium, you guys can see, has a little bit of contouring on both sides, a little bit of chamfering. Has a really nice finish. The bead blast finish on here was done really nicely. The deep carry pocket clip is a typical deep carry pocket clip. As far as ergos go, if you are familiar with one, you're familiar with them all. It sits right in kind of the crevice of my knuckles, so it's not causing a hot spot in the slightest, which is very, very nice. Yeah, I mean, this thing's very comfortable to use, really, really comfortable in hand. And again, it's just the edges kind of just melt from the titanium into your hand, and it just feels fantastic. So as far as ergos, I mean, it's hard not to give it a 5. Like, I think this just goes to show how much I really enjoy this knife and how good of a knife it is when it comes to what knives are good at. And it excels at a lot of those things. So moving on from ergos, we're going to talk about carry. I'm just going to write it down now. 5 out of 5. Loop over style, deep carry pocket clip. Sure, it does not go to the deepest part of the knife. I would have loved to see them maybe move up the screws a little bit more. But I guess with this backspacer screw, that is kind of where it ends. But I've seen knives incorporate the clip screws into the backspacer screws. So just kind of one of those what if moments. But I mean, it sits pretty dang deep into the pocket. No issues with that. Lefty and righty carry, which is really good, especially on a button lock. Sits down in. You do have a flipper tab down here, but the jimping is very minimal, I would say. It's really not an aggressive jimping for your finger, of course. But so when you're down in your pocket underneath side, I apologize, guys. I'm so used to utilizing my front camera, so I got to make sure I'm doing all these movements correctly. So I do apologize. I know that these first couple videos are going to look maybe a little awkward until my hands get used to what they're doing on a different camera angle. But I really am excited to be utilizing this top-down method because so many of you guys have, wanted me to switch over to be able to see the knife more. So hopefully this is, better for you guys, better for me. Just a, win-win situation. But I do apologize for some of the awkward movements and some of, the places where my hands should go aren't. But yeah, so when you come down underneath it to get change, chapstick, anything like that in your pocket, you do have to be aware of that, but it's never, had an issue for me, and I've carried it quite a bit since I've had it in. It's just one of those little, tidbits of information I like to tell you guys. But carry is great, lightweight, especially for, a mid-sized knife with titanium scales, about 3.4 ounces. Can't feel it. I mean, very, very lightweight, feels great in the hand, great in the pocket. As far as carry goes, I already jotted it down, but it's getting a 5 out of 5. That leads me to my last category of price point / value / would I recommend this knife. Now, if you're looking on the website, this thing comes in at $340, which I'm not going to lie, it was a little bit of a sticker price, or a little bit of a sticker shock to me. I thought that, you know, that was a little high at first, and I'm still not going to give it the best value. You know, I don't think it's a great value, but I think the price is very, very fair. When you're comparing this to USA made, you know, ProTech button locks, like the Malibu, the Mordax, the new Integrity, I believe the name is, you know, those are in aluminum, and you're paying, I think, $225 at minimum for no milling on the scales. And as you add different sorts of milling, you're getting up closer to, you know, $250 to $300. And ProTech's titanium, you know, which I do every once in a while, those are, you know, $350 or so, I believe, as well. So when you compare that to, you know, knives like that, yeah, you're paying more for it, but you have to, you know, realize that whenever they do titanium button locks, they're in the same ballpark price range as this one is. So the price really isn't that crazy. I mean, you're getting beautiful scales, again, a custom pivot, great button lock action on the open and the close. You can sit here and do this consistently all day, every day. You're getting S45VN, which is, you know, not going to blow your pants off, but it's a very, very good steel. I've seen it used a lot in, you know, methods like this. Beautiful drop point style blade. Just a very clean, very simple design. And I think that you have to, you know, come to realization that, yeah, it's a USA made button lock, but with titanium, great tolerances, great action, great ergos, great carry, all the things you want in, you know, a knife like this. And I think it's justifiable. Again, I don't think it's a great value. You know, I think if it was somehow sub $300, that would be, you know, considered a value in my opinion. But I don't have an issue whatsoever on the price. Can I recommend it? Absolutely. This is probably going to be one of my favorite knives of the year. I would love to add, you know, one of these to the collection at some point, if I can get some extra funds, or maybe sell some stuff, trade some stuff. It's that good. I was very, very excited to get it in, and now that I've had it in, I love it. And, you know, it's not a perfect knife on my scale, on my rating system, but it's a pretty damn close one. So as far as value and material, I kind of had the same thing with the ZT-0512. If you guys caught yesterday's video, I'm going to give it a 4.5 as well, as far as value and rating. And I can recommend it. Like, it's so good, guys. If you have a chance to pick one of these up, definitely grab one. And I think I have the same score for this one. Yeah, I have the ZT-0044 coming in with a score of 34, which lands it in the fantastic category, of course, 1 point away from being a perfect knife. And again, that's just nitpicking with value and acoustics. Because like I said, if I, you know, ever find one of these on sale on the secondary at a good price, I will definitely snag one of them. And I would love to add one to my own collection, you know, at this point, at some point this year. I can't talk right now. Very, very good knife. And I am definitely going to miss it when I ship it off in a few days to the next person in the pass-around group. But yeah, I mean, I'm going to wrap this up now. I think I was able to get my opinion across to you guys. I think I was able to, you know, tell you how much I love the knife, how much I really, really enjoyed it. And yeah, none of this would be possible without the man, the myth, the legend, Kev over at Lefty DC. Thank you, my friend, for always allowing us to check out cool stuff. This is definitely one of the cooler ones I've checked out in a while, and I am a big, big fan of this. So, but I'm going to wrap this up now. So thank you guys again so much for watching. This was my full review on the Zero Tolerance Knives 0044. And yeah, hope you guys have a great rest of your evening, day, night, weekend, whenever you're watching, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.